it's Kirsten. I recently took part in a Facebook meme for showing 7 books, just the covers of 7 books, and not talking about the books. And I had fun with that. But I quite like to talk about books, that's why I'm here. So while Facebook got the benefit of the pictures but no words, you're getting both. So the first book I'm going to choose is Arusha and the End of Time by Roshani Chokshi. I haven't got it to hand at the moment. I'm actually reading another of Chokshi's books right now, more aimed at adults, maybe YA adult, I'm not sure. This, however, is a middle grade book. It's aimed at 8 to 12. It's in the Rick Riordan Presents imprint, which is about publishing books based on mythologies that otherwise don't get a look in Western culture. So Aru is Indian, and it turns out that she has an important place in Indian mythology, but she's also a bit of a nerd, and this is chock full of pop culture references. So if you like books with pop culture references, this is funny, it's light-hearted, it's about sisterhood and theoretical sisterhood and family, and Arusha has to save the world, stop time ending, all while wearing Spider-Man pyjamas, which Judith found hilarious. She's exactly the right mid-age range of this book, and she loved it too, and I loved it. We all loved it, which is why my husband bought me the other Roshani Chokshi book, which I'm currently reading. So fantasy, middle grade, Hindu mythology. The next book I'm showing you is The Lost Girl by Anne Ursu. I think I have talked about this enough that you probably know all about it. But these are twins. One of them is very creative, but a little bit away with the fairies. One of them is really down to earth and with it at all times. And they meet at a sort of magical shop, and it's clear one of them is going to they get separated. They've always done everything together. They got put in different classes. They kind of grow a little bit apart, and then one of them gets lost and the other has to save her. Hence The Lost Girl. It's got crows, it's got twists, it's exciting, and I cried my eyes out. Loved it. The next book I chose is Laini Taylor's Strange the Dreamer, because it's had so many different copies, so many different covers, and every copy I see on BookTube has a slightly different cover. So this is about an academic, an orphan, who's obsessed with a mythical city and is learning the language and everything he can about it, when along comes a rich, privileged boy and steals all his knowledge. But very early on it becomes clear that he's the guy with the language skills they need, and he gets to go and have adventures. And they meet the children of gods, and there's disturbing past history, and everything has to be improved. And Laszlo Strange, the hero, is quite sweet, and he doesn't always do things the way you expect them to, and nothing exactly goes. It's not very tropey, this book. It's a breath of fresh air. So it's a fantasy book with a journey in it, but it's not like any of the other ones I've read. So yeah, it's a good book. Speaking of fantasy books with journeys, The Bedlam Stacks by Natasha Pulley. Someone has to go to Peru to get back quinine, which will help with the malaria epidemic that's ongoing. And while he's there, he meets a mysterious priest. There is weird machinations with time, there's romance, there's friendship, and it's a really lovely book. And I pre-ordered this without having seen the cover, because I loved the Watchmaker of Filigree Street cover so much, her first book. I don't like this one quite as much, but I still really love it. So there's just a lot of love for Watchmaker of Filigree Street. But look at the monkeys. Okay. Goodbye Tsugumi, this by Banana Yoshimoto. I really like the simplicity, and I really like the way it's offset. Like, it's not just... They've obviously put some thought into how it looks and how you can use writing as decoration as well as information, and the colours. And I love Nana Yoshimoto's work. I've never read one of hers that I didn't like. This is two girls who grew up together. They are cousins, and one of them's sadistic but also disabled. And it's coming to terms with what family means to the two girls when the other one's about to leave home, or she leaves for university and then comes back for the summer. And it's coming to terms with what family means, what their relationship means, and what's going to happen. And there's a lot of character growth for the other cousin, Maria. And there's a lot of development, and it's sort of about how when you're a child or a teenager you think you know what's going on, but you don't really know everybody's perspective, so there's a lot going on even in your own family that you wouldn't really notice. And it's really beautiful and short. So if you wanted to give it a go, it's quite a quick read. It's 186 pages. Could you tell I've been in a bit of a reading slump recently, and I'm like, okay, I'm not finishing anything. That's why I'm all like, it's short, but it's very beautiful. Okay, The Unkindest Tide by Shauna Maguire. This is a Toby Day book, as you can see. This is Toby. Toby is a detective. She's also fae. It's a fantasy about fairies mostly, and again there's a lot of pop culture, a lot of Shakespeare references, there's love, there's romance, there's quite a lot of blood. There's never any sexual violence. You never get sexual violence in a Shauna Maguire book, and that's guaranteed when you pick it up that that's going to be safe. So I love that about her books, actually. So while there's a lot of sex and a lot of romance and a lot of, like, the two don't necessarily go together, and there's a wide variety of cast of people, or fairies in this case, yeah, she's very considerate as an author. And it's really fast-paced, exciting. If you like detective and fantasy, I realise it's a bit of an obvious genre, but you've probably encountered this series before. If you don't but want to have a go, this is a good place. I mean, not this one, but this series is a good place to start. Start with Rosemary. And the last book, it's me. I collect recipe books, so I pulled my most recent one from the shelf, which is Loads and Loads of Buns. And my intention had been to cook a bun every week until I'd finished making all the buns, and then I gave up sugar. So for various reasons, I don't know how long it'll be. I'm sure I'll go back to eating a small amount of sugar soon, but it's got like base recipes, and then lots of, you can see lots of, this is a butter bun, this is raspberries. I occasionally need to look up a few words in Swedish. I'm not brilliant, but oh, look at this. Snickers buns, don't they look amazing? But I'll get around to making some of those, but in the meantime, it's just going to sit on my shelf looking tempting. Have you done the meme? If so, what did you put in your meme? Do you like to keep your social media accounts completely separate for separate things, and then just mix them up and for separate things? So if you do one on one thing, you don't do them on the other, or do you like to mix things up a little bit? Have you read any of these books? What do you think? Or are you going to read some of these books? Especially the bun book. Do you want to see me make a bun? I think the first one is traditional cinnamon buns. Yeah, the first one is traditional cinnamon buns. I did a recipe one time and that went really well, so if you want me to bake a cinnamon bun for a video, I'm sure I could do that. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Bye.